Castillo.
Here.
Councilman O'Flaherty.
Present.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
Supervisor Dept.
Present. Okay, thank you guys for coming, and thank you for giving us a couple minutes there to get our acts together. We are going to start with 1620. So that's 1620. Okay, it's going to be the .1 personnel. First off, right off the top of the list is the supervisor, and it's NA is not applicable to the hourly rates, right? Currently, you put in a salary. The NA is not applicable. All right. The current hourly rate or salary is $10,310.38, and this is a salary, and budget year was $10,310.38, 3% increase. It comes out to $10,619.69.
Correct.
Everybody good?
Yes.
Everybody agree? Okay. Next one is the municipal work for 3, and the hours worked is 1560. And as far as the salary request, the budgeted for the year 2024 is going to be at $41,730.00, and that is going to remain the same. They're in negotiations until the negotiations are finalized. So that we want you to look at. Clerk, 8 hours a week. Her current hourly rate is $20 per hour, and proposed hours are $416 per year, and she's looking for a 25% increase at $25 an hour. The budget for 2024 was $8,320, and the proposed budget for 2025 is going to change to $10,400. Gentlemen, thoughts, conversation?
When was the last time the clerk had a raise?
Last year.
Last year?
In 2024.
It went from 17 and change up to 20.
Up to 20.
And that number's based off the same rate we use in the 50-10 line. That was also based off of the survey that was done with the secretaries throughout Ulster County Highway Departments, which ranged. I have those ranges. So that's where that number came from. That's the going rate, the average rate for the highway superintendent secretaries.
So, to be all fair, it's not the going rate. It's just an average number that you came up with by looking at other departments.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same as I would when you probably do police negotiations or negotiations. You look at other departments, see what they get. Same analogy.
We'll probably to a degree, yeah.
But it's kind of hard when we don't have we have a part-time police department. You probably can't find a part-time police department nearby.
So
Understood.
she went from 15 and change to 20, and that
15
I'm sorry,
and change.
17 and change to 20.
Yes.
Well,
And that essentially just back then, I think quick math's about 15%.
She actually had 2 different rates last year.
Yeah.
About different jobs.
it was crazy.
So this is the billing round, and then she's also the clerk for the superintendent of the highway. This is the other line I was talking about.
Yeah.
Last year, she was paid for quite a few years. She was paid 2 different rates because they wouldn't increase the buildings and grounds budget to bring her up what the highway amount was. In highway, she was 19 or 18.
So this one she was different in?
Yeah. So last year we got an equalizer.
Okay. So if we do this up to 25, it's a 20% increase again in one calendar year. So what if we did
So, if we went from 20 to 25.
20 to 25 is about a 20% increase, and then if you did the year prior, it's a 15. There's quite a big compounding going on.
Well, it's getting up to the.
I don't disagree with you.
Getting up to the rate, yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'm suggesting is haven't we all applied like a 3% inflation or whatever, 3% to most of the stuff that we've been doing?
Yeah.
Correct, in terms of the personnel? So then, if we do 20, that's, I think, substantial, right?
Well, she's already at 20.
No, I'm saying 20% increase. That would be substantial. So if we can, 10% would be $2, right? Would be 22.
Correct. 10% of 20 is 2.
right? So, and then, I mean, going forward, we need to be more competitive, but I don't know, we can't jump to.
That, you know what? That's a problem. Would you love to do it all at once? Yes, you would.
Yes.
Would we be? Either way, we'll probably be screamed at a little bit.
Right. You got to mitigate
This
the
is
bleeding.
So keep in mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, 20 to 25 is a 25% increase.
$20 to $25 would be
25. It's 25%.
It's a quarter, you know. Am I wrong, or?
It's $5.
No, you would divide it by, so it would be, yeah, 20 divided by 25 would be a 20% increase. That's the math on that. I understand what you're saying, you're adding 5 to that, but that actual ratio is only a 20% increase.
Okay, so it figures out to 20%.
Correct.
So what's your thoughts, go on?
My thoughts?
No, everybody's thoughts.
I just think that at 20, it's going to be tough to put 20 out there, right? 20% increase. But if we went halfway with that, I think 10 is substantial. It's $2 more an hour on the going, which he's currently getting, and I don't want to say nobody else is kind of catching up to that. But this would be a substantial increase, I think.
No, I agree, it's substantial.
I would love to be able to go right to the 25. I don't know how
I would love to raise everybody. I really would. It's just, you know, I want just justification and everybody to buy into it and understand it and collectively make a decision.
Anyway, I wish we had more industry in this town. This way we get more taxes.
That's besides the point.
But it's...
It's not holding you to your thought.
No, my
Put your input and we'll all...
we're all putting the
Learn off
input,
each other.
and I understand the 10% and 20%. And I understand that we're going to be... we have to be competitive. Maybe we should go between 10 and 20, maybe 15, because they're doing a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at what they do. And maybe it's a slap in the face if you between just 10. I don't, like people tell us and everything else when we go to the store and everything has gone up way more than this, and I know that we're collecting taxes to pay this, so it's up in the air, man. Like, I understand it, but financially we can't afford it. Is there any way to do something that will be 6 months now and then 6 months later?
It's the same budget year.
No, I understand that, but that it looks the illusion. Basically, that's what it is. I understand what you're saying.
So keep in mind,
I have to go with everybody.
Well, you're...
Well, that's what we're supposed to have a discussion.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
So we can come up with a conclusion.
Maybe
So we're learning.
15.
So keep in mind our numbers are real numbers. And I don't want to go... So,
No, I was just saying
So-
we're having a discussion.
yeah. So as far as discussion, may I...
Go.
So at 20%, we have, I believe, 14 employees. And the 14 employees that we have right now, what we're doing is we're increasing them by 3% across the board. Last year, I believe it was 275. The year before it was 250, and so forth. So at 3%, and I'm not saying no, how do we justify going 10% or 20%, 7% more than any other department? And I understand the parity, not necessarily the parity, but the comparison between neighboring municipalities. I get that. I understand that. There's value in looking at that. And, I can appreciate that. But the reality is there's other neighboring communities that numbers are lower. So what do? Do we err on the high side, err on the low side? I think when it comes down to it, it's the affordability. Can we afford to do that? So our taxes are set to increase 16.88%. We're passing a law to go above that 2% tax cap. We're trying to do our due diligence, and I certainly do not want to do our due diligence and balance our budget on the backs of the people who do the jobs. That's important. They need to get paid for what they do. I totally understand that, totally respect that. But we have to look at it realistically also. Is the justifiability there to do a 10% increase on one and not on any other one?
And these are appointed positions. This particular one is appointed position. Right?
I'll be honest with you. Just my opinion.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. Appointed positions, a hired position, a volunteered position, if it's a paid position, they deserve the same respect.
Right.
Regardless. So I don't want to look at it because in my mind, I don't know why, but subconsciously it kind of diminishes the job. They're doing the job. So they're doing the job. A lot of folks here, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, a lot of folks are going way above and beyond their jobs. We have a lot of people doing 2 and 3 and 4 different things,
Yes.
and we've developed different ways of paying them through different stipends, I'll say, if you will, that we give them. And, we appreciate those jobs, and that's the way that we've been paying when we can't pay a certain way that we try to pay through other means. And we add on other responsibilities. So it's just a tough sell to go 3%, 3%, 3%, and then try to say that all of a sudden there's somebody with value more, and everybody has different values and different responsibilities. But I just want to get in my head clear the justification that we would take and go above the 10%. I do agree that certain jobs, and this happens to be one in particular that I've been around for 10 years, and we have this discussion every single year, and trying to bring it up to what presumably would be fair. And it's just a tough one. It really is.
I think it's almost now we have to find almost the middle of the road, because for years they weren't going up. And you know what? It's really tough when in a year or two you try and catch up all at once.
What was prior to the increase the prior year when she was from that?
Build around was 17 and change.
And when was the last time that was corrected or adjusted? Like there was no monetary. Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a bump a year, like to catch up.
Last year was to bring her up evenly. She was going up to 20 for the clerk, the most part of the highway.
Right,
So
no, I'm
the
just saying,
request
this
was-
started 12 months ago, regardless of what
Yes,
there was.
yes.
Prior to that, there was very little adjustment prior to that.
Yeah, to be
So
honest
we are
with you, I can
in a
answer that
phase
question.
of trying to catch up
Yes.
to what we call a going rate for this job.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
So I think we're making that progress, right? So last year's, or whatever it was, 12 months ago, we had a big increase. This would be another substantial increase to get caught up to going rate. It's hard to go with a full boat and get there with no other adjustment across the board.
You posed a question. You're correct. They're political appointments. They are political appointments.
Yeah, I understand.
They were designed that way.
Yes.
So that's why the highway department, the hours she has there are not full time. It's the buildings and grounds budget that brings her up to full time. Union will not argue the fact that a person gets a higher raise because they realize it's an appointed position,
Right.
and that's been discussed with the union rep. So there shouldn't. So
What union rep?
like
For the highway or for the building department up here?
saying that.
I know he's the same guy, but what is he giving you recommendations on that they're not going to have a problem?
General discussions I told them.
But in regards to a potential contract with the highway department? Or is that recognition?
Recognize that this position is not in a union bargaining group. So.
'Cause I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I only look at it that it's not just a clerk, it's more like it's like a partner in that office that when one, let's say, I have to take your spot because you weren't here for a week. I don't have the knowledge, so I would ask Tiffany because she is knowledgeable. And I believe it would be with Kirk, with you, in order to keep everything running in a smooth way. And I understand a 20% is high. I understand that. But I guess 10 would be...
It's not the fault of employees that they're working outside their job description. Okay, so they're working outside their job description with all the extra work that gets compiled on. The amount of grants, we got almost $5 million worth of grants we're going to be processing.
Right.
That's not in their job description. And they're doing the extra work. So the jobs have changed over the years. Unfortunately, the board has not recognized that and stayed below the tax cap for many years. Now all these jobs up here are behind. All the clerk's jobs are behind. So evolution has not happened when it comes to pay in this building.
Yeah.
It's not just for one, it's for everybody. I always advocate for everybody. I mentioned that about everybody. And we keep spending all kinds of hours every year doing this instead of just fixing it. Ulster County did that. They went through 5 years ago and they changed their pay scale. They brought everybody up to speed. There's people walking in the highway department right now making $27 an hour. It's $4 more than these guys are making here with no experience. We're behind the times. And it's not the fault of the employees. It's always the fault of the employees. Some people say they have a Cinderella career. These people should have that also.
So who said it was a problem or the employee's fault? I don't think anybody said it was the employee's fault.
But if we keep them down, everybody deserves a chance to make a living wage.
Let me just ask you a question. On the first one, on your salary, you only increase that 3%, and I believe on your other salaries that you get, you only increase that 3%, correct?
Yeah,
That's not a union job either.
without any direction. Correct. I did opportunity on my own.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, I don't.
But
Did the board make any decisions, any board meetings about increases?
this is my question, if you allow me to finish.
Sure.
You proposed 3%, which I think that's right on point. But yet you proposed 20%. Why didn't you propose 20% for yourself also?
Because I feel that I'm getting paid for the job that I'm doing. Other people are not.
Fair. Now, I do believe that all the salaries are way lower than what they should be, and I would love to be able to give everything that we could possibly give. And I got to tell you, many hours have been spent crunching numbers, trying to figure the budget out, trying to get it down, trying to rein it in. And even though it seemingly feels like nobody's paying attention to that, nobody's looking at that, nobody understands that, I have to say that there's a lot of moving parts to the budget. And it doesn't have to do with the salary. It has to do with a ton of different things, mandates beyond our controls. And it is just the monster in the room that we deal with every year. And it's going to go on many, many years after we leave. I do agree that there's an increase needed. I'm sorry, but I don't feel like we can afford the 20%. I have to say that I think a more fair number in all respects. I'm thinking a possible 10%.
What's the difference on the insurance? This question I'm trying to pose before. The employee gets a 3% raise, insurance goes to 11%. The employee share, what's their insurance costing?
You know what, Bob? Without that sitting in front of me, it's like,
So what? Well, budget officers should know. How much more will employees be paying this year that pays into insurance?
If the insurance goes up 11%, it does not eat 11% of the insurance.
So what is the employee share?
It's a very small amount, comparatively speaking, from 3%. And again, I don't have the numbers right in front of me to crunch and give you an accurate number.
I was assuming
I'll find out for you, and I will let you know.
But we're into wages right now, and you've already started with wages. So evidently that 3% number you folks agreed on at some point must have taken that number into consideration. Mm-hmm. So you collectively somehow reached a number of 3%. So how did you figure that in? Joe, how did you figure that in? With the insurance increase to the employee, how did you come up with 3%?
So we all talked about it, and we just figured 3% was pretty good.
But how does that affect employee? How much do they pay extra for their insurance?
I did not figure those numbers.
and also the 3% comes into play also, depending, not for nothing, I know 3% is 3%, but if you're making $50,000, keep it simple, 3% is $1,500 raise. If you're making $30,000, it's $900.
Numbers don't lie, and we've gone through this. Like I said before, last year was 275. There's an increase every year. I believe last year the insurance rate went up higher than the 11%. Regardless, that's the number we came out with, 3%. That's the number we thought was fair to raise 3%. Bob, I don't know if it was during the time you were here. I cannot even remember during the time I was here. But there's been times where we gave 0% raise. We're doing the best we can. These are not simple times. These are difficult times.
I'm trying to learn how the board came up with 3%.
3% historically also, you can't reference the last 36 months because it's been out of control. But 2.5% is actually historical inflation. So
The cost of living was at 3.2, I think.
correct. So you can't go. I mean, the historical average is about 2.5% when you compound back to the beginning of time, right? So if you're trying to keep your buying power ahead of what you were the previous 12 months, that extra 50 basis points should essentially historically keep you in front of it.
So
All that's saying, I'm acknowledging that the last 36 months has been god-awful with inflation.
And the cost of living at 3.2, and then the increase for the healthcare. I was wondering how you guys came up with 3%. So simple
That
question.
would be my perspective on that, is the historical average.
Because the medical went up, the whole course of the plan went up by was it between 8 and 11% this year?
I believe so.
And I wish I knew exactly what it was, say, because you have single plan, family plus one, not family.
Double.
Yes, whatever.
Double and family.
And keep in mind, too, that the employee does not bear the burden of the entire cost of the health care.
I know you can't answer this in future tense, right? But what would be a 26 projection that you would like to try to, because what I'm getting at here is there's some way to catch up, but you can't just go full throttle into it with the type of budget
It'd be nice to do it in 2 years, because other towns are also giving increases.
That's what I'm getting at. So I know you did your due diligence.
Numbers I gave you were 2024 numbers. And some of those employees those secretaries get longevity pay. And they get the other perks too, which this town does not do for currently highway.
So acknowledging, I'll say the catch up, right? There's certainly a lot of evolution in terms of where we need to get to. I think it's demonstrated in good faith that it started, prior to me seeing it, but that seems like a good faith adjustment. I think 10 is also a a rather strong good faith adjustment. And if you're looking to get to that number by the end, that's another very strong good faith adjustment.
As long as that's put in ink.
All I'm suggesting is I know you can't project, I can't project, but if that were to go in that trajectory, that's still extremely strong adjustments.
So going back to your suggestion, half and half, you could do 10% now and 10% in December in this year? Just based on your suggestion.
I understand what you're saying.
Your wisdom, I was basing that on. Your years of experience.
Well, collectively, we're going above the 3% by 7% more. So that's opens the 10. And I understand your argument,
What does
or your statement.
what does the employee handbook talk about raises? How are they done?
To tell you the truth, I didn't look at it because
You guys got the job look at handbooks. What's it say about the
I have it out in
raises?
the car, but the thing is...
I do have it in the car.
Evaluations.
Right.
Raises are based on the evaluations.
Right.
Just putting that out there.
No.
We talk about 3%, 7%, 20%, 15%.
Yeah,
It's based on evaluations. Department evaluations.
Department head.
That's what the
So
template.
are we currently doing department head evaluations?
I got them.
We've never seen those.
Department head. Yeah. Yep. I can come up with department head. Yeah.
Well, I guess right now that's irrelevant.
I would say
you put in.
I'm assuming you weren't there.
Well, you put in the request.
I'm assuming you're doing department head.
So we are going to take all of that into consideration as we have been, and we'll continue the discussion. I feel
me ask you this.
10%.
10 is aggressive. I agree. But, the reviews don't constitute a monetary increase automatically. Reviews are reviews. They're words, right? So it can be taken into suggestion that would motivate you for something.
Supporting documentation.
Right, yeah. But it doesn't, X did a great job today and this deserves an extra $1 today. Like that's just part of your review process. It doesn't necessarily constitute what we're speaking about. I'm not saying competitive wages around. I would like to, I'm not necessarily dismissing a department head review or whatever these reports are, but we need to get to competitive paying rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're looking to get to. That's the words that you'll submit are great, and I think those are all good things, but let's say you had somebody that didn't get a great review, we would be having the opposite conversation, or you would want the opposite conversation.
So what it used to be was the highway superintendent, when I came in office in 2010, and for a few years after that, those reviews, I was given a budget line for raise increases. Then I divided up the amount per employee, how they got. Some got 1%, some didn't get any, some got 4%.
At your discretion. Yeah.
That's how it was done originally.
That's excellent. So you reward, positive influence, value into your department.
It wasn't across the board.
That's
Everybody gets the same.
excellent. I love that.
But now that part has been taken over by a union that is negotiating.
Well, technically not yet,
Negotiating.
but yes.
No, I said that
Yes.
word.
Okay, yes, you
Negotiating.
did.
Okay, so if that's out of his hands, that's going to be with the union.
Well, but in his example, that's a good managerial example. Without
yes,
getting into the
exactly.
weeds of what's going on, that's an
Right.
excellent attribute to have for him at his discretion. Has his reports, I like this employee, great, and then they get rewarded
Right.
with your discretionary.
And the other thing is that we look at, that I'm looking at, got to rephrase that. If we do it in the 2-year time, let's say we're going to do the other 10%, because if somebody leaves to get a replacement, especially in the busy departments,
Yeah, no doubt.
you're going to have to bring up that wage because it's low. You may not get anybody to work that way.
I think you got to go off of what we have in front of us.
What in front of us, the 10% will be. I'm listening to it all.
I think $2 is very strong, and then to get to the other 3 is extremely strong.
Right. So I would say the 10% would be an aggressive one. And financially, and looking at all the finances, that's about how much we can go up on that particular position.
And also, on the other hand,
Yes, sir.
like with the experience that's there, like you said, if she happens to leave, somebody else
No,
comes
they're
in,
getting-
they don't start at the same time.
No.
Not feeling yet, but hey, what do I know?
So,
Well, I shouldn't say what do I know.
But that's it. That's the end of what I'm going to say. So if anybody else,
Joe?
I'm comfortable with 10%. And I know that's the number everybody's been kind of tossing around. Between 10 and 12.
yeah, that's to play catch up.
So I'll entertain a motion if somebody would like to do that.
I'll make a motion for a $2 increase from 20 to 22.
Okay, you got a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. You did the math on that, Jim?
20 to 22 is 10.
Final number will be changed to 9152. No cents. Agree?
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to change the final number on the bottom.
You said 9152?
Yes.
Yep. $63,061.69.
Say that again, say.
$63,061.69.
Page one done.
Okay, next, equipment line. This would be municipal worker 3, tools, $500, and it was $500.
Hold on 1 second. Can
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
we talk about that math?
Excuse me?
The math isn't mathing for me. So,
Which one?
Go back to what you're talking about.
So we have for the supervisor is 10 or no, oh, it's 10619. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the original was 10.3, 10.38, and then with 3%, it's 10.619,
I just
6.9.
want to make sure that we're
Municipal worker with 3% is 43,290.
so what was the number that you had?
For the municipal worker,
So that's not 3% on there.
I wouldn't. So that is we can't discuss that salary.
I'm sorry, that's right.
So I'm
Sorry.
using-
Remove that. Good
That's
one.
nothing.
So the final number is actually going to be minus the 41,730. So your number of 63,061, thank you for pointing that out. 63,061 minus, and then it's 24's number, 41,730. So that don't seem right. I'll
No,
do
it's
that
not.
again.
Yeah. 61,501.69.
That's what I have. Yes.
61, 69. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
61 what?
Use the last year's number.
61,501.
Yeah. So just use current.
5.
So 2024,
Okay.
and then whatever negotiations goes into.
All right, so point 2, the equipment. Point 2 under the equipment for the municipal worker 3, the tools, $500. Is there any special tools or anything, Bob, that they're requesting, or?
That's just a standard replacement number for things that break, wear out.
All right. And 1620 under point 4 contractual. We have the first line is Night Comco, 396. I take it that's the lease for the radios that are in the van. Heating fuels was 9,000 for 2024. It's 9,000 for 2025. Cleaners were at 12,000, and the stays the same. Proposed for 2025, 12,000. Mats we budgeted 700 for 2024, and that remains the same. Electric for 2024 was 14,000, and the proposed budget for 2025 was a slight increase of 15,000. That is an increase, guys, but I think that's justifiable. You guys think it should be more or less?
$1,000 increase.
Which one is this?
Electric.
Electric. I just had a dumb question. Is this all seasonal because it hasn't hit yet? Because of the heating? Yeah, right.
Okay, mowing. The mowing is for 2024 was 2,500, and the proposed budget is 2,070. That was a drop of $430. What was that based on, Bob?
Probably when we did because that's a proposed number. It could go up. We go out the bid in the spring.
It could be more.
That number could be more.
Yeah.
Arbitrary.
Do you feel comfortable dropping it at 430 or leaving it at 2,500?
Crapshoot. Don't know.
All right, so let's go with the $2,070.
You're looking to keep the budgets down.
Yep. Okay, the alarm system. Alarm system was budgeted at 2024 at $600, and it is $600
Just a biannual bill.
for the request. Is that the internet service? Is that what that is?
That's alarm. Bird alarm.
Oh,
Heat and smoke problem.
is that also tied in with fire? Or just strictly?
Heat and smoke.
Water. The water was budgeted at 500, keeping it at 500. Flags. The flags are budgeted at 500, keeping that at 500. Fire equipment was budgeted for 2024 at $350, and it is also budgeted for 2025, anticipated again $350. The office /cleaning/restroom supplies, that was budgeted in 2024 at $2,000, and we increased that by $1,500. And I assume that's because of all of the added stuff that we're doing, and more folks up there in the bathrooms and so forth. Building, everybody good with that? Mm-hmm. Any questions at all? Okay, building /maintenance supplies. The budget was for $4,000 for 2024, and the anticipation for 25 is $4,000 also. Garbage removal was budgeted at 2024 at $1,750, no cents, and it remains the same, $1,750. Heating and cooling was budgeted 2024 for $1,000, and that remains the same, anticipated for 2025 at $1,000. Miscellaneous repairs and projects. That budget is $15,000, and again, it remains the same at $15,000.
What is that?
House work and stuff that gets broken.
If you guys
Stuff goes down, just you don't know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Total department request is $66,366, and somebody want to do the math on that to verify?
There was nothing adjusted in these?
Oh, no.
Try to keep them slim.
You got skinny kids?
Yes, actually. Yes. Don't feed them.
That's right. $66,366 even. Yeah.
Plus 500 on the first page. And then the other
I got 128,368.
Correct. Or you're rounding up, right? I'm I'm just asking because it's 367. Yeah. Point stuff.
So you have to add the 500 for the first one?
Yeah,
You gotta add the 500 on 61, 501, and 69.
368. You said for that?
128,368.
Yes.
That's per Excel.
Congratulations, you finished your first budget line.
Okay, so total department request for 2025 is $128,368.
We have to
That's 1640. 1640 for the general vehicles. That's going to be under personnel. The budget for 2024 was $10,000, and this is an increase to $12,000. It's an increase of $2,000. Questions?
You're already over budget on that line now.
currently over budget. This is for what?
The mechanic to work on the building around the building farm vehicles and the police vehicles.
So the trucks and the police.
Not the highway.
No, I mean
the two pickup
building.
trucks,
Yeah, the pickups.
the police cars.
How many police cars?
It's on my desk.
Yes. Yes or yes?
Quite a few. What do you have to 10?
7? Oh,
I think there's 9 vehicles right now.
10 cars? Okay.
Is he also going to work on the pool car vehicle if we buy one?
I haven't heard anything. So if you guys do know that,
When we actually make that purchase, then we'll
Well, yeah,
take care
you
of
do
it.
have. You do have the budget for fuel, tires, oil, and gas. So now's the time to do that.
Yep. Okay, so the increase of $2,000 up to $12,000. The point 2, equipment line. Equipment line is all zeros. Okay, so the next page, 1640, point 4 contractual. So the point 4 contractual, again, budget for 2024 is $42,000, and the proposed budget is an increase of $2,000 to $44,000. Questions?
And that probably will be under budget.
Nice.
Police cars get used more.
Nice. I got no orange marks on this one, so I'm good.
If you guys do the math, I have total department request for 2025 of $56,000.
Yep.
12:44 here.
So we are going to go to 3310.
Signs.
3310. Okay, this is signs. And in 2024, the budget was $4,000, and that's going to remain the same. The request for 2025 is going to be $4,000. That total department request for 2025 is $4,000. Questions?
So we only spent $950 so far?
Yeah, but if you look at the notes, it's the order in November.
Oh.
Okay, next number is going to be 5132.
I tabbed mine. 51 what?
32.
I didn't tab that one.
You don't want to do 50-10?
I had 5010 as my.
Oh,
you know
wait,
what?
no.
Hang on.
Oh, where did I put them?
No, we want to skip
I think
that.
I put
We
them
want to skip
in front.
50-10.
I did jump that up.
Yeah, so
5132 is the
5132.
loose piece.
Yeah, sorry, the printer ate my papers.
Okay, so we did 1620, 1640, 3310, 5110.
No, 5010.
I'm sorry.
Not this one yet.
50.
Okay, so 5010. And this is going to be Superintendent of Highways, the personnel line.
5110.
Superintendent salary, $62,997.73 is the current. And do the math with the 3%. Is going to bring that to 64,887.66. Verify that, folks.
That's correct. Did you do that on purpose?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody agree 64,
Yes.
87, 66.
Yes.
Now, on the clerk for 32 hours a week, we just agreed to increase the salary on the other line, and I believe we should do the same here, $22.
Make a motion to increase the pay, currently hourly pay from $20 plus $2 to $22 in 51.
And I will second that. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. And do the new math on that.
I had 8320. That was the because I didn't know what we were doing there. Suggested.
Gentleman number?
36608.
36608.
Which brings the total personnel to 101, 495.66.
Look at you. 101.
He's watching the clock.
Okay.
never
Just
two
do-
He hates school. So drop that.
Well, you made the right decision if you hated it.
And look at you now.
$101, 49, 50, what is it, 50?
495.66.
95.66. Yep. Okay, and we have under equipment, the printer, wiring, supplies. Shouldn't that be in the .4, Bob?
That's equipment.
The
Point two is equipment.
the printer should be, the supplies part should be in the point part, but
Point two, point four.
the printer
Yeah, point two.
point two, but any supplies
Right.
part should be in point part.
Okay, so what do you want to do with that?
Buy a new burn.
And supplies?
It's on the second page.
All right, so
That in there.
under the .2, the printer and wiring, or is wiring considered in supplies too?
No, I would think the wiring would go with the printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The supply
So
part.
consumables are on point four.
So now let me ask you this: is the anticipation that the supplies are for the printer anyway, so it's all part of the printer?
What's that?
The supplies are to support the printer. That's everything, correct? Yeah. So I say that should stay there. All right. So that's $500. All agree? All right. And we have the .4 contractual. Under the .4 contractual, we have the Ulster County Association of Town Superintendent of Highways. Is that what that name is?
Page.
You're there. You got it.
And that is your annual dues, correct? It's $250. We did budget last year for $250. The highway school we budgeted also for $750, and that is proposed again for 2025 at $750. What is that? UCATS? Is that also Ulster
That's the
County?
local one.
The bus, right?
Okay, that's the
Yes,
same
bus
thing, but it's a local.
Yeah, one state, one
Okay, so that is $40 remains the same. I don't see any difference in that. iHelper software was budgeted in 2024 for $3,500, and the same thing for 2025. Are we in contract with that? Is that what that is? It just continues, Bob?
It was part of the original system that all the departments had here until everybody went their different ways. That's why my budget went up. It used to be in the building department and the bookkeeper's office.
All right. Under office supplies, budgeted for the 2024 season was $580, and that's an increase of $20 to $600. Any questions, comments?
No, sir.
Okay, the secretary training, $150 was budgeted in 2024, and that remains the same. The request is for $150. Any questions at all?
She doesn't get no training at all?
Excuse me. And there is no
Update
request for email / new 2022. So, total department request.
Find it.
I'm sorry, total contractual. Just do the math and verify that. $52.90. Everybody good? Okay, and we have .4. This is under garage. The 5132 propane. Propane was budgeted in 2024 at 53, and the budget request for 2025 is 50.
I don't know. Did you guys do the total?
Yeah, we didn't total. I didn't total out.
But you were lucky.
I totaled out this page, the .4, but I didn't total out the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
Type it.
It's the next page.
Yeah, we have to add that up. I'm sorry, I added up just that.
Forget.
107, 285, 66.
107, 286.
You know,
I know it drives him crazy and it rounds up. That's how it does.
it does.
What's the numbers you guys come out with? 107?
107, 285, 66.
We're rounding up.
I don't know
Okay.
Round up.
Now we can go down to
286.
the garage. The
that. 564.
.4 on the garage. 851.32. Propane. Last year the budget was at
So-
5,300. Question?
I think that's the one that was
The
separate.
loose leaf, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want this in here somewhere, or we're just
That should be in your book.
behind it
after.
right in the... Okay.
Everybody have that page?
Yeah.
Okay, one more time. Propane. 5,300 was budgeted for 2024. No change in 2025. Same request. Telephone. Telephone is at 0 for 25. The mats, the floor mats, 500 for 2024. And the request is for the additional 500. The alarms was 600 in 2024, and we have $600 in 2025. That remains the same. Repairs were at $2,700 in 2024. Remains the same at $2,700. And the request for supplies, $1,000 was in 2024, and we have $1,000 for 2025. And we can do the math on that, and that comes out good. I don't know if anybody has anything different. Now we have the going to here
7110, is that what you're
7110. Yes.
Well, I'm just looking at you. Yes,
You're looking over my shoulder.
the easiest way to get through life, man. I'm telling you.
Straight line.
Coattails.
Okay, this is going to be under parks. Okay, first personnel line. Personnel line is halftime clerk. And this is the stipend, correct? And that is going to be halftime clerk monthly, and the amount that is current is $4,886.88. 3% increase on that should come out to $5,033.49. You guys can check the math on that as well.
That's the increase.
All right.
Yes, sir. Checks out.
Okay. So we have part-time cleaner. Part-time cleaner is 3 hours times 26 weeks.
Not that bad.
Cost is $17.32. And it is 78 hours per year. And the proposed salary will jump up to $17.84 per hour. And that budget request, I'll let you guys do the math, figure that out, and it should come out to $1,391.52. All good? miscellaneous help. And the miscellaneous help is 10,000, and the request is for 10,000.
What's miscellaneous help?
So the highway guys go up and set up for the events and do work up there.
Gotcha.
And there's only
Plattekill Day, 4th of July, all that stuff.
and you have a trail system you're going to be looking after, and you also have some equipment. And that budget only has $4 left there right now.
In miscellaneous help. What's this one? Why is there zero? I know it's the next one, but why is there zero on trail?
Last year I requested they put some money in that budget line, and they pulled it out.
Gotcha.
And now next year we'll have that work to do.
But you're not putting anything in there? You're not
That would be up to you guys. I mean,
Gotcha.
Steve, because the first 2 years, the
Boy Scouts?
Scouts,
The Scouts and the Rotary were
they, were
supposed to go up
gonna-
and do that.
they took care of it the first 2 years.
I just put a question mark because there's
and that's why
nothing there.
that's why I made
And I think it's important not to take it off, to keep it in here, because eventually we are going to start being responsible for that.
and there's only $4 left right now.
Okay, so right now,
No, or miscellaneous.
How come it wasn't in here before?
That's all that's left.
That's all that's left.
We got 9,600 that he spent.
No.
So on miscellaneous help, you're not increasing that, even though you're
I'm waiting for the board to tell me what they want us to do. Good. New equipment.
I would walk right into that.
And you have the trail system, so leave that up to the smarter ones to tell me what to do.
I wouldn't say that. Okay.
are we done? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, so total personnel, the request is for $16,425.01. Do the math and check that out.
$16,425.01.
Okay, point two equipment. Point two equipment on the 24 budget was $5,000, and then we had the same request for this year, $5,000. 24 contractual. So we have Optimum, and I am guessing that that's for the security cameras up there and everything else. Who monitors those security cameras?
The DVR.
A what?
There's a DVR records it.
It's a hard drive.
But who watches that?
I have access to it.
But anybody else have access beside you? Okay, so that was $2,400 for 2024, and that remains the same at $2,400. The electric, the request for 2024 was $2,500, and that request remains the same at $2,500. Water testing, $600, and the same request is $600 for this year. Mowing, and the mowing says a note here as of 6/30/2024. What is that?
That was when we did that was the bills that were submitted up till the 1st of July.
So the 2,915 is what we're seeing.
They're slow on submitting the bills.
All right. So the request for 2024 was $7,800, and that remains the same request for 25 at $7,800.
And that can change with a new bid.
Okay. Porta potties. Porta potties were $1,485, the request in 2024, and that request remains the same for 25, and that is $1,485. Flags / hardware / ropes. The request for 2024 was $2,000, and the same request for 25 at $2,000. Miscellaneous repairs / banners. That was $3,500, and that remains the same $3,500 request for 2025. The mulch in the infield mix, that was in 2024, was $5,000, and the same request, $5,000. All right, flowers and shrubs, $500, and $500 the same request. And paper products and garbage bags, we went from $700 to $1,200. I'm going to guess that the increase is due to the more use of the park.
Flags and ropes, you just haven't blind in yet? Is that
Yeah, end of the year.
Gotcha. So the math all adds up.
Yep. Okay.
48,1001.
All right.
48,41001. Sorry.
So for the .4, it's going to add up first to 26,985.
That's correct.
Total department request for 2025 is 48,410 and 1%.
Correct.
Okay, .4, the playground recreation. So Rock North, no, that's not it. What am I saying?
Go with that. Oh, right.
That's that one.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
one's
site that one. Jump rates are 7110, 8810.
71 pages?
What are we doing?
8810.
Jump 8810. 70. We just did 70.
8810.
8810.
This is just from late billing, you said?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. Delayed billing.
Okay, 8810 is going to be cemeteries. This is going to be the budget for 2024 was $5,200, and the same request $5,200. On the mowing, this is it says cemeteries on the top. $5,200 is what we spend on the cemeteries.
That's a budgetary number. It depends on how many times they're involved with the growth.
Isn't that included in our mowing bid where they do X amount of weed whacking in the cemetery?
But it's broken down.
So we expended in 23, 34, but like you said before, it could change by contract.
And
Somebody pays the
weather.
contract.
Yeah, if we get a rainy year and grows fast.
All right, so it's $5,200. There's no change on that. Everybody's good with that? That's good. And we are to 8810. And I believe we'll shoot down to the DA, correct?
Where are we now?
Down to
You
DA.
could do, VA 1989.
DA 1989.
Are we there?
Yep. So there was a letter before this. Let's see. Okay. And the .4, this is for public health, and this is for drug testing. And the request for 2024 was $1,000. What is this? It's kind of a little confusing. So that was a breakdown. So the total request for this in 2024 was $2,500.
Yeah.
And we're requesting $2,500. You just broke it down for the two different items. All right. Good. So the request is going to be for $2,500. Any questions at all?
No.
Okay. So general repairs. So when we look at general repairs, we are on your .1 personnel. All of these are basically. Let me just take a quick look. These are all into negotiations. When we looked at this, and just looking at this, let me just look at this from 1640, the $12,000 that you did in 1640. How does that work? That we're almost budgeting that twice.
Yeah. That's your vehicles.
Yeah.
And this is highway vehicles.
Also, you're separating it out.
Two different budget lines, yeah.
Okay. Let me just check my note here a minute.
I had the same thing. Just from
Machinery is a highway account. That's farther back.
I got you.
The mechanic can do labor work, or he can do mechanical work.
All right. So again, this is into negotiations right now. There's nothing here that we can really look at. It's going to stay the same for the working supervisor, and this is the 2024 budget. So as it stands, it will be working supervisor will be budgeted at $5,200. The HMEO number 9 is $61,214.40. The HEMO number 19 is $57,699.20. The motor equipment operator number 6 is at $52,104, no cents. The heavy motor equipment operator, number 7, the salary will remain the same as $54,163.20. The motor equipment operator, number 18, is at $52,104, no cents. The heavy motor equipment operator, number 22, is $54,163.20. The heavy motor equipment operator, number 28, is $53,040, no cents. The motor equipment operator, number 31, that is going to remain at $49,836.80. The motor equipment operator, number 33, and this is new. Is this something the request was for $38,471.68? What is that, Bob?
So in the 2024 budget, that was at $38,471. That was seasonal worker, and trying to bump that up to a full-time position. So if you're freezing it, it'll just stay at the $38,471, I guess.
All right, any questions on that, guys?
Yes, I have a question. You had put in like 3% increase over here.
I did, what I did, Willie, was 3% would have averaged like 70-some cents an hour. But then I was concerned about the insurance cost of living, so I did $1 across the board.
Okay, so that means, am I wrong? He would have to
Well,
say-
we can't negotiate any of these right now. Why it's in negotiations? I mean, that's what it is.
No, I understand that. So this here, there's nothing with it.
No, that's why I read all these lines.
I understand
I'm
that.
reading the 2024 budget request,
Right,
and that's going to remain the same until they're done and they ratify the contract.
right. So
So we're
So we can't
actually
say
looking at
anything
the
until that's
2024.
negotiated. I mean, I
Right.
guess that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to go
Okay,
off that
so
static number for
the
now.
MEO number 33, which is
budget
new.
for a number of taxes.
Which is
Next year,
new.
You're going to take you're going to take a hit next year when you do the taxes if you don't put a budget number in.
Right. If we don't account
You
for
can put a
it.
budget number in, you're just not going to release the funds. Keep it great.
Correct.
But if you don't budget for it, you're complaining about being behind this year.
Right.
What's going to do next year?
Well, not only that, though, but we just can't speak to it. Yes.
yes,
That's what when I get done, I'm talking
Yeah.
about. So let me proceed. So the motor equipment operator number 33, that's the new position. That is at $38,471.68. The MW3, what is that? The municipal worker 3. Number 20, that is at $13,910. The mechanic is at $53,435.52. Now, this is mechanic DA fund, the minus the 25, and we will have to do all the math onto that and give me a total. And that is in the 2024 budget line.
Yeah, that's enough. I'll do it again just to be redundant.
Plus that. That was 20.
Oh, this was last year.
Yeah, it's 523.42.
And this was, what is that?
That was less 25,000. That's taken out and put back in on those pages.
Okay.
It's actually
Oh, here. It's not red. I see that. You're pointing that out.
Oh, sorry, I didn't need color copies.
Tabs and colors next year.
I know. I got requests.
Where I have post-it notes or little arrow things.
Excuse me?
And I have it work.
Index.
Let's not get out of line.
It's easier. You only got to copy one page.
Make sure you budget for my supplies, for real.
Oh, for God's sake. Here you go. Thanks. What did I do here? 20. Why is it not doing this? Go cross-eyed.
So I got 545, 342, and 25, 523, 42.
So, 523, 42. Now, that line with a minus 25, is that minus 25 in 24 or is it in 25?
Same number here.
So it's going to be the same number. So we are going to minus from the 545 to 25, which will end up being 523.42.
So
I had 520.
yeah, so
20342.
332.
I got 14. Last year's right here.
Oh, you know.
Okay, give it to me one more time.
Put it in right. You're correct.
so I got 523.42.
520.
That's what we budgeted last year, right?
342.
Correct.
No sense.
So long last year.
523.42.
520.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what she
342.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
So, this is a general.
Okay, so that being said, contingency fund. Have you set up a contingency fund for anticipated raises? You, Bob.
So no, so he had put them in his budget. So so when you're going into negotiations, just like the town does contingency account, he's going to have to set up his own. So you have to come up with a threshold of what you think.
So is what you think, I'm just asking dumb questions. That?
Well, I just did. I haven't seen the contract. I don't know what they're asking for. I'm out of the loop.
Correct. No.
This is going to be a board number to throw in there because I would no longer have.
Okay, gotcha. So it's very vague.
Yeah.
But if we were to do.
But you see what the difference is.
It's a big delta, yeah. So we have to.
So I mean,
We're going to have to figure that out tomorrow.
so we're going to have to set up, just like we have the 1990 for the A fund, it'll be the DA 1990 contingent. So that money that you just took out is actually going to go right back in.
Yeah, you have to kind of.
Right, it's going to.
Yeah.
25.
It's actually
We'll try to come up with
this number.
which it may very well more, maybe less. Who knows?
I do. I think that's something that.
I know we can't speak to it, but I think on the err on the side of caution.
13.
It can be no less than that.
I'm just saying the err on the
It could
side
be
of
less than that. It
caution.
could be more than that.
This
I
would
mean, I
be-
feel like it could go either way.
I think that's something we have to look at tomorrow.
That would be something.
So-
err on the side of caution. I don't know what's going on.
Because this is a little under 25.
I'm sorry, say that
It's
again.
probably about, if you count employees, probably about 1,800 feet.
All I'm saying is if he's remotely accurate or even
Right.
even in the ballpark, it's a good thing to
Yes.
consider. You know?
Yeah, so I think that that's something that we should sit down and totally discuss. And again, it's creating a whole new account line for you.
Yeah, but I think
Just add more work. It's fun thing.
appropriate plan.
It's going to make it a lot easier. It'll make budgeting a lot easier. It's going to be.
If not for nothing, everyone should have
That's why if you take
contingencies.
this,
Oh yeah, unassigned fund balance.
The 555.
What else do you use it for?
All I'm saying is if you took that 555 number and took the difference between what we just said was what,
34,952.
Yeah, take that difference and
I mean, that's
gives you an accountability to earmark. It's manageable. It's not holy. We got to dump it. You know what I mean? So I think it would be advisable.
So I just don't want to arbitrarily use that number to fill it in. I'd like to.
I'm not suggesting to. Yeah, I agree.
Because potentially it could be a lot more. Potentially it could be.
And I have
a lot
no
less,
clue,
Or
but I
it could
think we
be
should
right
plan
spot
for
on.
that.
Who knows? We don't know.
Next.
Okay, so let me get $20. So right now this is $34,952.20 gap, I'll say. And again, I'm going to look that up and give you the numbers tomorrow. All right, so the total for this page, as it stands right now, $520,342.06.
That was correct.
Okay, so next page, DA 5110, contractual 3.4. Uniforms. Uniforms are at 4,000.
2342.
Oh, okay.
You guys good?
Yeah.
It's .4 contractual uniforms. Request for 2024 was $4,446, and the request for 25 is $5,591.50. Cell phones. Any questions at all on the first line? If there is, stop me.
Negative. No.
Cell phones, $600 request in 2024, $600 request in 2025. Radios. The radios are at $9,864 for 24, and the request for 25 is $9,864. Fuels. The request was for $52,000 even, and slight increase to $60,000, an increase of $8,000.
What is that? Gas and the diesel? Yeah. And it's just because we're not consuming. Like, where's the difference there? Like,
Winter comes twice a year.
Exactly. Okay, I knew you were going to say that. I really did.
It's my go-to.
All right, road materials /subcontracting/projects. The request was $300,000 for 2024, and the proposed request for 25 is $300,000. Engineering was $2,000 for 2024.
I just had a question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Road material subcontracting projects. Just give me an idea what all that is.
Everything we do.
Better idea.
Paving, guardrail.
So that would be under road material? Or subcontracting?
Item 4. Well, sometimes we'll have highway departments consider maintenance. There's a threshold that we're not supposed to go above for working on roads. Otherwise, we become a contracting company per se.
Understood.
The state wants us to do maintenance, not construction.
Right.
So there's a threshold we're trying to go over ourselves. They want you to go out to contractors like Plattekill and Callahan and let them pave your roads. So,
Okay.
So there's a threshold. So you'll see like the year before we actually were $516,000.
Yeah, that's why I see the nice giant disparity.
Next year, when I do my 284 agreement, I'll look at road projects, see where prices are, and I'll probably come to the board and say, I'm doing a 284 agreement. I need more money on assigned fund balance. Let me transfer money into the 2025 budget for those extra projects. So this would be more like the paving that we do in-house, guardrail, coal patch, item 4.
Projects, is that like the culvert stuff too, or no?
Culvert pipes come out of a different budget line. We'll get to that. But we have taken money out of, so that $300,000 is like a pool of money that we will also draw from when we run short in sand and salt for winter time.
Understood.
We'll run out of short money in repairs of the trucks. Comes out of there. So we're under budgeted on our sand and salt every year. But you ride it out. Maybe you get a bad year one
mild winter
next year.
Gotcha.
You blow one engine on a truck, it's $26,000. So there's never enough money in all the accounts. You gotta share them.
Understood. I'm good. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay, engineering for 2024, the request was for $2,000, no cents, and the same request for 2025 is at $2,000. Tools and rental equipment, $300 was the budget for 2024, and the request for 2025 is an increase of $3,100, or excuse me, $200, so it's $3,500. Questions on that?
I'm sorry, which is tools and rental equipment?
Tool and rental equipment.
I mean, it jumped substantially. Why?
Yeah.
Look at 2023.
2023 for, oh yes, you just didn't use any. What's the rentals? What do you get?
Street sweepers and compactors, excavator once in a while, something bigger, a lift. We'll rent a lift for doing some tree trimming once in a while.
So just add need.
Yeah.
All right, all good?
Yep.
3,500. Miscellaneous batteries, food, seed and hay. The request for 24 was 1,000, and that jumped up to 2,500 in 25. Questions? What's the food?
We get a long duration storm.
All right. And subcontract, you guys are all good on that. Subcontracting for tree removal, $10,000 was the request for 2024. And 2025, the same request for $10,000. You guys get a lot of trees removed from those folks, don't you?
What's that?
I say you get a lot of trees removed from those folks when you do that. Get a lot done. Fuel the master software, and that request was $1,200 in 24. And 2025, the proposal is $1,175. Do the math on this.
What was the previous?
1,200.
No.
And the request is $1,175.
I get the same number at the bottom. 394, 230, 50. I'm sorry, 395.
395, 250.
230.5.
2 cents.
And if you had the previous page.
So we do all the math, 393, 230, we get everything else in.
So what did we miss? Oh, yeah.
It's 25 grand in there.
Something like that. You just spit it out.
Yep, what do we have with your total request?
I had 915, 572.5. You want to go 573?
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
We get the push. 573.
Take that extra 50 cents.
Verification.
Inflation adjusted.
One more time with that number you had?
915, 573.
Okay.
Which chips again? I know you said that.
Ruffles.
DA 5112 chips.
Consolidated Highway Improvement Program. Funded.
It's not with Poncherella.
No.
California Highway
No
Patrol.
motorcycles. No.
Okay, so the budget request for 2024 was 156,788, no cents. 25 proposed budget is 157, 167, and 2 cents. This would be for a total contractual of $157,167.02.
That does not go to the taxpayers. It's not an actual request. It's just a reimbursement account. We don't actually get the money to the credit bills. That doesn't go to the taxpayers.
Gotcha. Next.
Okay, bridges, DA 5120, 0.4 contractual, and it is going to be pipes. The request for 2024 was $4,000, and the request for 2025 remains at $4,000.
Where'd you get the money to get the other 62 grand?
Oh, it's not come down.
Went a little over there.
Check out a fridge. It's a $1.8 million job.
Okay, so it was under budget then.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, catch basins. Catch basins request was $600 for 2024. That remains the same for 2025 at $600. Flanges, $300. That was the request for 2024, and that remains the same $300 for 2025. Waders, $300. That's 24, and the same request for 25 at $300. Pipe inspections and tools, $500 was the request for 2024. That That remains the same as well. For 2025, $500. Miscellaneous drainage supplies, $500 requested back in 24. The same request for 25, $500. Engineer, there is no request, and this would be for a total contractual in the amount of $6,200.
The mass.
Okay, machinery, DA 5130, personnel. Again, it's going to stay the same for the 2024-25, and the proposed is going to be 25 anyway. So that's going to stay the same. And total personnel is 25,000. And .2 equipment.
Hold on a second.
Back up. Yep.
So,
Because it doesn't. Is it full time, part time? How does this go?
that's just the number from the other sheet. That's that 25,000 from the
It's
other
already.
sheet.
Oh,
It's an arbitrary number.
Gotcha.
It's not a per hour number.
Understood.
That per hour number shouldn't even be there.
That's where I couldn't figure it
You
out.
can ignore that.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the .2 equipment. The replacement chipper. The replacement chipper is 113. So $113,000 is a request for a replacement chipper. That chipper, what's the deal with that chipper? Is that no longer usable? There's what kind of shape is it in, or
It's
what
a
is it?
2003 with the 2600 hours. 21 years old.
And it needs to be replaced.
It should be replaced.
What's it worth? 2,600 hours. It's up there.
On something at 18-inch logs.
Okay, so the replacement chipper for $113,000, no cents. And replacement T4 estimated. Estimated, what exactly is estimated? What is that one?
T4 is what?
It's a small dump truck, plow, standard.
That's the 450?
Yeah, it's got 100,000 miles on it. 2014, 100,000 miles on it.
Can you get one? Wasn't that the thing you were having?
No, the big trucks I can't get right now.
Oh, so this is one
it's a
you can
bigger
get.
problem. Yeah,
That's with the plow, sander, the whole setup of what you want onto it.
This is.
yeah.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
And that's supported by the transfers from the unassigned fund balance, and that would be for a total equipment of $263,000. And machinery .4 contractual, the DA 5130. And the DA 5130 under parts, the request for 2024 was $22,700, and that's an increase to $25,000 for 2025. No questions? Software, $1,500, and that was for 2024, and we're at $1,500 for 2025. And again, stop me if there's questions. Tools, $2,000. That was for the year 2024. Increased to $3,000 for 25.
I'm assuming you just have stuff you're replacing or worn out guns or whatever. Yeah.
Inspections, 24 was $500, and 25, the request is $500. Gloves/rags, $600 was the request for 24, and that's a slight increase to $800 for 25. Welding supplies, $1,500 in 24, and that is a $1,000 increase to $2,500 for 2025.
Did you just have a bunch of extra material from 23 that you ate through, or it's
My
just
mechanic right now is a fabricator, so he's not cutting and torching as much as we normally do.
okay?
If you look at the year before.
Yeah, I was looking at that. So it'll right itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that was an increase. You said he's not doing welding and fabricating
He's
as
not
much?
as proficient as
He's what?
Not as proficient as the first person, the last person.
So he's using more welding rods and more equipment and more
Or
tools.
we're not letting him weld.
Oh, there's a $1,000 increase in that line, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Things are getting more expensive.
What's that?
And things are getting more expensive.
All right, tires. Tires, we budgeted in 24, $5,000, and that request is doubled to $10,000.
Year to date, it's 5,100, and I think we're ordering about 12 heavy truck tires this week.
And what does that cost?
They're probably $300 a piece, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, and then you have previous in
Also,
23.
don't forget, some of the stuff also gets used on the other vehicles too.
And say what again?
On the general fund vehicles too. Some of the stuff. Then we get reimbursed for it.
All right, oils were at $2,500 in 24, and the same request for 25 is $2,500.
How come so much? Oil's oil now.
It's expensive. $1,000 a drum now.
But how can you have it? Is it just because you have the drum and you need to buy another one? Is that why the 852 isn't considered? But there's another, was that $1,600, $1,800 you got to
Yeah, we probably had some stock last time, but we're going through more oil changes now with the police cars.
Because if you go back just a year to 2023,
You know, I saw that.
they used 2833.
I was wondering if you had like a drum or two sitting there that you haven't eaten through
You
yet.
blow one hydraulic line and you lost 25 gallons of
Yeah.
oil.
I hate
Real
the
quick.
smell of that stuff. I hate hydraulics.
All right. Fire equipment. Fire equipment was, the request in 24 was for $700. The same request for 25, $700. And miscellaneous soaps and cleaners. The request in 24 was for $2,000, and that request is the same. 25 and $2,000. This would bring the total up to $48,500. If you want to check that.
That's correct.
And then we'll do a total
And
department
kids that
request.
are on an island somewhere. They go grab them.
Do all the addition there, guys.
48, 5. $336,500 even.
Yes, sir. What I got? Everybody else got anything different? Alrighty. 5140, brush and weeds. We have chainsaws and trimmers. $1,500 was requested in 24, and there's going to be an increase of $1,000 on that. The request is for $2,500 for 25.
That's also backpack blowers, that kind of stuff too. So there's a couple more items.
You just replaced a lot of that stuff too, didn't you?
Yeah, it's worn out.
All right, tractor mower excavator supplies.
No battery powered blowers.
The request in 24 was $3,000. That will remain the same request for 25 at $3,000. Fuel, $300 for 24. It will remain the same, $300 for 25. Looks like weed control, $200, and the proposed budget for 25 is going to be $200. And if you do the math, it should come out to $6,000. Total department request for 25 is $6,000.
Yes, sir.
And now we have DA 5142. Snow removal, personnel.
So this is not here?
Yep.
No, this one is not.
DAs.
Oh, it is. Okay. But this is all, I got you. We did that before.
Personnel and
All right, so we're going to have overtime. The overtime for 24, the request was for $30,000. And the proposed budget for 2025 will be $35,000. Now, in all reality, we probably should put that, use the 2024. I have no problem with that overtime. Who knows what the storms are going to be. Given what we're up against, I'm okay to leave it at 35, but I'll entertain any comments from anybody else.
well, if the pay rate goes up and the overtime rate goes up,
Yeah.
even
with the extended static winter.
And you don't know if you're doing time and a half, double time, or you know, so it's all relative.
Yeah,
Either way, it's
going to about 35.
Estimated guess.
I'm good at 35 as well. So.
We're getting some weird storms.
Okay, everybody's good with that?
Well,
Okay,
Farmers
total-
Almanac again said this is a bad winter, but you know what? This is about the fourth time they said it.
most of the ice.
Let's just be happy that they haven't.
They're wrong. Yeah, I know.
Okay, so total personnel for the point one is going to be the 35,000. The point two equipment is no request, and next will be. You do the state retirement under yours here for yours, right? Correct.
Yes, it's all.
DA 9010.8.
Are you doing the 5142 point
I
four?
don't think I have it. I don't have it.
I don't either.
Maybe she's.
Can we go make a copy of it?
Yeah, maybe that's what she's doing. And then the 9010.8.
Good Woodstock time?
All the way to Woodstock to drive all the way back to Winter, drive all the way back to Woodstock.
Why?
Because they were one bundle of shingles short.
Oh, for work.
You just roll over to town. Busy little towns, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Which way you going when you hit 376? You making a left and go towards Bearsville?
Yeah. I was trying to very how fast.
Want to give me one of them and then like punch a hole in them?
I'll do it later.
We're just
Gonna stab it through like I
Yeah, I'm
hate
gonna
it.
punch a hole out.
Marianne is
Okay.
It was.
Point fours.
Not here now. You get it?
Oh, she's got it.
okay.
Right here.
So let's do this.
How much salt do you have?
DA 5142.4, and it is going to be still under snow removal. Your salt. You gentlemen ready? Or?
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Salt. The request for 24 was $40,000, and the same request for 25, $40,000. Sand for 24 was 20,000, and sand proposed for 25 is going to be 20,000. Snow and sander parts, the request in 24 was 6,000. The request is going to remain the same at 6,000. Auger chains for 24, 2,000. 25 proposed is 2,000. Hydraulics miscellaneous, is where the request for 24 was 2,000. And the same request for 25, 2,000. It's going to bring it up for a grand total of 70,000, no cents.
I just think it goes back with the overtime on the 35. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna run into, so
Yep.
I just think it's all good planning.
All right, now we are at the DA 9010.
It does come up to the 105. If you add the 35 and the 70, it adds up to the 105 even.
I'm sorry, you're good. Just 105 even would be your total department request.
Correct.
2020. For salary. Great. So, department under New York State retirement, point 4, contractual New York State retirement, $70,000 budget request for 24, and the proposed budget request for 25 is going to be $79,004. That would be for a total contractual of $79,004. Total department request for 2025 is going to be $79,004 and no cents. DA 9030.8, Social Security. Social Security, the request is 24, was 35,000. That is increased to 25 to 38,200. This is a total contractual for 38,200. Total department request for 2025 is $38,200, no cents. Medicare DA 9035.8. Medicare requested in 24 was $8,350, no cents. And the proposed in 2025 is $8,908, 0 cents. And this would be for a total contractual of $8,908, no cents. And this is a total departmental request for 2025 in the amount of $8,908, no cents.
Did your insurance go down?
These are all supplied.
Workman's comp. So workman's comp in your .4 contractual, and it is the DA 9040.8, and 24 was $60,000, no cents. Excuse me. And 25, the request is for $55,000, no cents. This would be for a total contractual of $55,000, no cents. Total department request for 2025 is $55,000, no cents. Unemployment, DA 9050.8. Unemployment in 24 was $3,000. 2025 is $3,000, no change. Total contractual $3,000. Total departmental request for 25 is $3,000, no cents. DA 9055.8, disability, contractual disability, 2024 was $300, no cents. In 2025, it goes up, doubles to $600, no cents. This would be for total contractual of $600, no cents. And a total departmental request for 2025 is $600, no cents. Health insurance. Health insurance is in 2024. How is this broke down? I see just for medical and dental is not in the 2024. So 2024 under medical is $330,000, no cents, and proposed is $325,554.38. And the dental is $13,185.12.
Did they have it before in 2024?
It's a lump sum. That number says a lump sum. Just like it's a lump sum down here.
Yeah.
Just do
moved
the
over. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't in insurance. So when I was in
For now. Look. You found the end.
Okay, so the total is going to be $338,739.50.
Correct.
And this would be for a total department request for 2025 of $338,000. Excuse me, $338,739.50.
There's one we got to talk about before we leave. Personnel. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
And I believe
Negotiations.
that is it. So, we do the math to add everything up? Or just by the...
So I really can't do that until I reconfigure all the point ones
Okay.
for the Social Security and the Medicare because
Gonna change.
that's going to change.
Contingency.
And then we have to add the contingency, and then in that contingency, we also have to include the Social Security and the Medicare.
Retirement.
Well,
Everything's based off the payroll.
retirement shouldn't, because
Yeah,
that's
'cause you
an
break it in
estimate
half.
anyway.
Right.
So
All
it's an
that's
estimate. So we won't get that final number until we get the bill in December. Because if we pay in December, it's cheaper than if we pay in February. But until all the other numbers, but yeah. So I won't have a total final on that yet.
All right, so we're all good. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anybody?
Good job. That was a good.
Bob, thank you very much for you guys, all you guys do.
Good.
Appreciate it. Budget season is never enjoyable or fun. It's always a pain in the neck.
Could be worse.
So we are good. Thank you.
I'm gonna go get my kid.